Many apologies for technical problems earlier this morning on BBC Two. We're back on track with Show Me the Monet in 45 minutes, and right now we have to face the wrath of Anne.
Here are today's team of 9 contestants preparing for the show. Only one of them will go home with the prize money of up to £10,000. The others will leave with nothing, as their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Tracy, aged 38, a trainee hairdresser from Southport.
I'm John, I'm 28 and I work in insurance in London.
I'm Betty, I'm 52 and I'm a housewife from Stenhousemuir.
I'm Neil, I'm 37, I'm a firefighter from Leamington.
I'm Nick, I'm 52, I'm a freelance writer, originally from Norwich.
I'm Bridget, I'm 44 and I'm a lecturer from Bury St Edmunds.
I'm Keith, a 61-year-old drug consultant from Wallington in Surrey.
I'm Beverly, I'm 28, a civil servant from Alnwick in Northumberland.
I'm Nicholas, I'm 18 and I'm a student from Hawley in Surrey.
Now the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be carried forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Betty. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £20. Start the clock. Betty, in TV, Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett starred in their own comedy series called The Two What?
Ronnie's.
Correct. Neil, according to the proverb, still waters run what?
Deep.
Correct. Nick, in human biology, what fluid is pumped by the heart through the arteries and veins?
Blood.
Correct. Bridget, in the children's nursery rhyme, which bridge is falling down?
London.
Correct. Keith, the flag of which country is commonly referred to as the Stars and Stripes?
America.
Correct. Beverly,
Bank.
in nature, what P is the name given to the transfer of pollen from one flower to another?
Pass.
Pollination. Nicholas, which film alien famously wanted to phone home in 1982?
E.T.
Correct. Tracy, what M is a classification of animal which describes a milk-producing warm-blooded creature?
Mammal.
Correct. John, in the Lewis Carroll novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which character threw a tea party?
Mad Hatter.
Correct. Betty, Dawn French stars as Geraldine Granger in the TV comedy series The Vicar of Ware?
Dibley.
Correct. Neil,
Bank.
what Y is a type of singing usually associated with alpine dwellers?
Yodeling.
Correct. Nick, open weave tights and stockings are commonly known as what nets?
Fishnets.
Correct. Bridget, what would you score in darts if you threw a double 20, a double 15 and a 2?
72.
Correct. Keith, according to the saying, inciting rage or anger in someone is like waving a red rag to a what?
A bull.
Correct. Beverly,
Bank.
in literature, which author wrote the 1937 novel The Hobbit?
Tolkien.
Correct. Nicholas, in food, what sea is a dried, seedless black grape?
Current.
Correct. Tracy, if there are 480 sheets in a ream of paper, how many sheets are there in 2 reams?
960.
Correct. John, in the animal kingdom, what type of animal is an oyster catcher?
It's a bird.
Correct.
Bank.
Betty, in Cockney rhyming slang, what is a Mother Hubbard?
Cupboard.
Correct. Neil,
Bank.
according to tradition, doing what to a handkerchief is said to help you remember something?
Tying a knot in it.
Correct. Nick,
Bank.
coin-operated gambling machines which used to give out fruit gums rather than money are commonly known as what?
One-armed bandits.
Fruit machines. Bridget, what S describes the extremely informal use of language?
Slang.
Correct. Keith, Dick King-Smith's novel The Sheep Pig was made into which 1995 film?
Pass.
Babe, Beverly, what would a darts player score if he threw a 666 and a double 10?
38.
Correct. Nicholas, in
Bank.
food, what sea is a hard cheese which takes its name from a town in Somerset?
Pass.
Cheddar. Tracy, who presented the long-running children's TV show Jim Will Fix It?
Jimmy Savile.
Correct. John, in the animal kingdom, Panthera leo is the Latin name for which mammal?
Lion.
Correct. Betty, in biology, eggs are produced in which organs of the female human body?
Ovaries.
Correct.
Bank.
Neil. OK, you've reached and banked your £1,000 target, and that money will go through to the next round, but of course one of you will not. Remember, you'll have 10 seconds less, and you need to streamline the team. Who potentially is a worry? Who is unlikely to stand the pressure of the forthcoming rounds? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Betty is the first strongest link statistically. The first weakest link is Keith, according to the statistics. But at this early stage of the game, will the others have picked up on this?
OK, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Nicholas.
Beverly.
Keith.
Beverly.
Nicholas.
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 Nick.
Keith.
Tracy, what do you do?
I'm a trainee hairdresser.
You come in your uniform today.
No, this is my best outfit.
Right. Why boo-hoo?
Because I like Nicholas. He's a lovely person, but he was the only one I could remember getting a question wrong.
Who do you think, statistically, was the weakest link, Keith?
Well, as you're looking at me, probably me.
Yeah. What are your hobbies?
Computers, travel,
Film?
yes.
And you've never heard of the film Babe?
I have heard of it, yes.
You don't think too quickly, then?
It just went.
It is. Not in the right direction, unfortunately.
Right.
Nicholas, how old are you?
18.
And your hobby is socialising?
Apparently so.
Right. And you've never had any wild times, alas, in Somerset?
No, afraid
So you've
not.
never heard of the Cheddar Gorge?
No, long way from home.
Right, well, I'm sending you back home. You live with your parents, do you?
Yeah, that's right.
OK. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
It does feel disappointing being voted off when I wasn't the weakest link, but at the end of the day, it was a close round. Everyone did well, and I feel like I was the weakest of a very strong bunch. I'm quite disappointed that I didn't get the cheddar question right because it's an easy question, and I just misheard a little bit of it because I was banking at the time, so I'm quite gutted about that, really.
You hit your target of £1,000 in that last round. We're on to round 2. 8 players are left. We are taking now 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Betty. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Betty, at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Denise Lewis won which medal for the heptathlon? Gold, silver or bronze?
Gold.
Correct. Neil, in the animal kingdom, how many pairs of wings does a bee have?
2 pairs.
Correct. Nick, in the Christian calendar, the day before Ash Wednesday is known as what Tuesday?
Shrove Tuesday.
Correct. Bridget, what D is a city in the Burgundy region of France which is famous for its mustard?
Dijon.
Correct. Keith, in literature, how many novels did Barbara Cartland write? Over 300 or over 700?
Over 300.
Over 700. Beverly, in a survey of 500 pet owners, 380 had dogs. How many didn't?
120.
Correct. Tracy, in food, what A is the name given to the savoury jelly used to hold together or garnish dishes?
Aspic.
Correct. John, in the human body, are antibodies produced by red or white blood cells?
White.
Correct. Betty,
Bank.
in food, for what type of vegetable do we use a French name that means eat everything?
Mange tout.
Correct. Neil, in classical music, did Brahms write any operas?
No.
Correct. Nick, in literature, The Remorseful Day was the last novel featuring which fictional police inspector?
Morse.
Correct. Bridget, Leonardo DiCaprio interviewed which president about environmental issues in March 2000?
Clinton.
Correct.
Bank.
Keith, in the Beatrix Potter Tales, what kind of animal is Tom?
A rabbit.
Cat. Beverly, in the Republic of Ireland, is the head of state a monarch, president or prime minister?
Prime Minister.
President. Tracy, Darwin, MacArthur River and Renmark are airports in which country?
Australia.
Correct, John. Scottish actor Robert Carlyle appeared as the character Begbie in which controversial 1996 film about the Edinburgh drugs scene?
Trainspotting.
Correct, Betty. According to the proverb, you should cut your coat according to your what?
Cloth.
Correct, Neil. In the human body, what O is the section of the alimentary canal that lies between the pharynx and the stomach?
Pass.
Esophagus. Nick. In pop music, what was Robbie Williams' first solo UK #1 single, Angels or Millennium?
Angels.
Millennium. Bridget. In cricket, how many stumps are there at one end of a wicket?
3.
Correct, Keith. In fashion, which design company, whose first outlet opened in Florence in 1921, has a logo consisting of a double G?
Gucci.
Correct, Beverly.
Bank.
Which transport system was first opened to the general public in New York City in 1904?
The Underground.
Yes, I'll accept. Subway. Tracy, in the animal kingdom, does the red squirrel hibernate?
Yes.
No. John, in pop music, in which decade did the Bryan Adams song Everything I Do It For You spend 16 weeks as the UK #1 single?
The 90s.
Correct, Betty. When facing forwards, what is the left-hand side of a ship called?
Port side.
Port.
Bank.
Correct, Neil. In science, what Q is a crystalline silica found in many types of rock?
Quartz.
Correct, Nick. In politics, time is up, and a very, very disappointing result. Having reached your target in the first round, you banked this time only £500. Eliminate the idiot. Hang on to the hopeful. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Betty is the strongest link again, with 4 questions answered correctly. Keith is the weakest link for the second time. Can he survive another vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Keith.
Nick.
Keith.
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 Beverly.
Keith.
Tracy, why Keith?
It was a close thing between Keith and Nicholas in the last round, and unfortunately, I think he got 2 questions wrong this time, so...
Right. Nick, what do you do?
I'm a freelance writer.
Are you? You got any qualifications for that?
Postgraduate diploma in journalism studies.
Postgraduate
Even
diploma
so.
in journalism. From
It's a
where did you
mouthful,
get
isn't
that?
it? Cardiff.
Cardiff. And didn't they teach you about Robbie Williams?
I think when I went on the course, Robbie Williams was probably not born.
Right. What a pity. Why Keith?
He got 2 questions wrong.
Right, and you just got the one wrong.
Absolutely.
Right. Beverly, had enough of Keith, have you?
I have. Sorry, Keith. No offence.
Too old, perhaps, for you?
No, he's not too old. Just he got 2 answers wrong, and I think at this stage in the game we need to bank as much as we can, and he's a little bit too weak.
He actually backed £200, but it hasn't saved you, Keith. Statistically, you're the worst player, and with 6 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
But being voted off the weakest link is very disappointing. It is very nerve-wracking when you're there. And resembles the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz, and she is very scary. I think probably Nick will go off next. He has got a few questions wrong, and that came out at the end, so I think he'll be the next one to go.
Round 3, and of the £2,000 you could have won by now, you have in the bank £1,500. You are down to 7 players. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Betty. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Betty, in the animal kingdom, the rhea is a South American bird similar to which large flightless African bird?
The ostrich.
Correct, Neil. In art, in which city is the Scottish National Portrait Gallery?
Edinburgh.
Correct, Nick. In the TV soap EastEnders, Susan Tully played the part of which character?
Pass.
Michelle Fowler. Bridget, American inventor Benjamin Franklin is famous for his experiment of flying what during an electrical storm?
A kite.
Correct, Beverly. Which lord disappeared in 1974 under suspicion of murder?
Lord Lucan.
Correct. Tracy, in
Bank.
science, dry ice is a frozen form of which gas?
Helium.
Carbon dioxide. John, in geography, what name is given to the continent which includes Australia, New Zealand and the neighbouring islands?
The Antipodes.
Australasia. Betty, is the city of Seville situated in the north or south of Spain?
South.
Correct. Neil, in food, what are as an alternative term for dietary fibre?
Roughage.
Correct. Nick, in which country was scientist Alexander Fleming born, Scotland or England?
Scotland.
Correct. Bridget, Robin Williams appeared as an alien in which 1970s and 80s TV sitcom?
Mork and Mindy.
Correct. Beverly,
Bank.
in nature, the watercress plant has what colour flowers?
Green.
White. Tracy, which government department is responsible for the assessment and collection of income tax?
Tax office.
Inland Revenue. John, which famous escapologist was born Eric Weiss?
Pass.
Houdini. Betty, in science, what C is the name given to a substance made from two or more elements?
Pass.
Compound. Neil, in film, James Stewart plays a wheelchair-bound photographer in which 1954 Hitchcock thriller?
Psycho.
Rear Window. Nick, which American state was named in honour of a Duke of York?
New York.
Correct. Bridget, in which sport is the term backsticks used?
Hockey.
Correct. Beverly, in history, samurai were members of the military class of which country?
Russia.
Japan. Tracy, in literature, George Orwell wrote the 1936 novel entitled Keep the What Flying?
Flag.
Aspidestra. John, in science, what U is a silvery white radioactive metal used as a source of nuclear energy?
Uranium.
Correct. Betty, in music, is a saxophone a single or double-reeded instrument?
Double.
Single. Neil, if 4 bottles of wine cost £13 each, what would the total cost be?
£72.
£52. Nick, which former Monty Python star directed the films 12 Monkeys and Brazil?
Eric Idle.
Terry Gilliam. Bridget, the NBA is the principal professional league in which sport?
Basketball.
Correct. Beverly, from which country does the musical style ska originate? Time is up, and you get worse as you go on. You scraped together just £320 in that round. Whose time is up? Who isn't worthy of their place on the team? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Bridget is the strongest link, as she was the only player to answer all of her questions correctly. Tracy is the weakest link, as she answered all of her questions incorrectly. But how will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
John.
Nick.
Nick.
Beverly.
John.
Beverly.
Tracy.
We have a three-way tie. Nick, John and Beverly, 2 votes each. John, why Nick?
I voted for him last round and I think he's the weakest link.
Right. Nick, where did you learn all that journalism?
Cardiff.
Do you think you should ask for your money back?
No, I'll hold fire on that for a while.
Will you? Because they didn't teach you anything about popular culture, did they?
Well, EastEnders was never the same since Dirty Den left.
Why John?
I thought he had as many questions wrong as me.
He did, but he wasn't the weakest link. Was he, Tracy?
Was it me?
Now, I asked the questions. Who do you think was the weakest link statistically?
Me.
Correct! Now, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Bridget, you were the strongest link. So first of all, why have you voted for Beverly?
Because I thought she was the weakest link.
Right, well, statistically, she wasn't. So you must decide, and you can change your mind, whether you want to get rid of John, Nick, or Beverly.
I think I'll stick with my original. I'm so sorry.
You're going to stick with Beverly. Why? Don't you like her?
Oh, she's a very pleasant person. I just thought she'd got some questions wrong that she ought to have known.
Right. Beverly,
Yes.
Bridget, who lectures in biology, thought you ought to have known more. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm appalled that I was voted off. There was at least 2 people that got 3 questions wrong. I only got 2 wrong. I think I was ganged up against because I was the only person standing by themselves, and I think it's disgusting. I banked all of the money. I voted for Tracy because she got 3 answers wrong. It was fairly obvious. I also think it's fairly obvious why she didn't get voted out. Maybe I should have worn a strappy top and then maybe I would have got a bit further.
Round 4, £1,820 banked of potential prize money of £3,000. There are 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Bridget. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bridget, in human biology, what's C as a violent involuntary contraction or spasm of the muscles?
Cramp.
Convulsion, but I'll accept cramp. Tracy, which Happy Days actor played the title role in the 1976 film Bugsy Malone, Ron Howard or Scott Baio?
Scott Baio.
Correct. John, in geography, in which European country is the province of Toledo?
Spain.
Correct. Betty, which actress is famous for her appearance as Beatty in a series of telephone commercials?
Maureen Lipman.
Correct. Neil,
Bank.
in botany, potassium, phosphate and what N are all essential plant nutrients?
Nitrogen.
Nitrate. I'll accept nitrogen. Nick, with whom did Nelson Mandela share the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993?
Pass.
F.W. de Klerk. Bridget, in classical music, was the composer Frederick Delius born in Bristol or Bradford?
Bradford.
Correct. Tracy, in football, which Asian countries surprisingly beat Italy in the 1966 World Cup?
China.
North Korea. John, what sort of Christmas cake is known in France as bûche de Noël?
Yule log.
Correct. Betty, in biology, does cytotoxic mean poisonous to cells or animals?
Cells.
Correct. Neil,
Bank.
in drawing, what eye is a type of black ink containing lamp black that is sold in sticks and mixed with water before use?
Indian ink.
Correct. Nick, in literature, what nationality was Cervantes, author of the epic novel Don Quixote?
Spanish.
Published in... Correct. Bridget,
Bank.
which famous space-age comic strip character had a girlfriend called Dale Arden and an enemy called Ming the Merciless?
Flash Gordon.
Correct. Tracy, in the human body, what K are organs which filter waste products from the blood?
Kidneys.
Correct. John, what type of acid is used in a car battery?
Nitric.
Sulfuric. Betty, in nature, what F is a word used to describe the cutting down of a tree?
Felling.
Correct. Neil, in pop music, which Norwegian band had a UK hit single with Take On Me in 1985?
Aha.
Correct. Nick, in film, what term was originally used by French critics to describe films with a dark, fatalistic tone?
Film noir.
Correct. Bridget, which black American militant leader said, I don't see any American dream, I see an American nightmare?
Michael X.
No, Malcolm X. Tracy, in cookery, the name of which Goanese dish of pork, potatoes, chilli and vinegar is now a term applied to very hot curry?
Vindaloo.
Correct. John, the Theravada and the Mahayana are schools of thought in which Eastern religion?
Buddhism.
Correct. Betty. You banked out of time, and in that round, you put into your kitty a rather pathetic £300. I urge you, heave the hopeless, ditch the dunce, hang on to those whose memories are not fading. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Neil is the strongest link as he answered all of his questions correctly and banked the most money for the team. The weakest link is Nick, according to the statistics. But will the others have realised this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Nick.
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 John.
Neil. Betty, have you got the hang of the rules yet?
I thought I had.
Right, why have you voted for Nick?
So I never trust journalists.
No. Right. John, why Nick?
It's nothing personal, but I voted for him for 2 rounds. Just
Right, but it's nothing personal.
It's his questions, not his
It
personality.
might be because you want to get rid of him.
Oh, I suppose so.
Nick, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think John should be the next person to go. Anyone who spells his name John without the H is a pretentious person. He had a little knife out for me, a rather blunt one, and he voted for me twice before when I was obviously not the weakest link. So good old-fashioned retribution maybe, and that's why I hope he goes next.
Round Round 5, your total so far is £2,120. There are 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, who won a Best Actor Academy Award for his performance in the 1981 film On Golden Pond?
Henry Fonda.
Correct. Bridget, in the military, what is the rank of a leader of a brigade?
Brigadier.
Correct. Tracy, in Judaism, what is the name of the ceremony for 13-year-old boys attaining religious adulthood? Bar mitzvah. John, in classical music, was Turandot the last unfinished opera by Rossini or Puccini?
Puccini.
Correct. Betty, in sport, for which baseball team did Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle play?
New York. Sorry.
New York Yankees. Neil, in which South American mountain range is Lake Titicaca?
It's the Andes.
Correct. Bridget, in literature, in which century did the poet Sylvia Plath live and work?
20th.
Correct. Tracy,
Bank.
how many lines of symmetry does a semicircle have? 1 or 2?
2.
1. John, in sport, which Q is the borough of New York in which the US Open Tennis Championship is held each year?
Queens.
Correct. Betty, in literature, Alex is the leader of a gang in which controversial 1962 Anthony Burgess novel?
Clockwork Orange.
Correct. Neil.
Bank.
Kaiser Wilhelm II lived in exile in which European country following the First World War?
Austria.
Holland. Bridget, in geography, in which country of the UK are the Coolin Hills situated?
Scotland.
Correct. Tracy, in TV, name the character Julia Swahala played in the comedy series Absolutely Fabulous?
Saffron.
Correct. John. David Bowie starred as Vendis partners in which 1986 film about young love and conflict in 1950s London?
The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Absolute Beginners. Betty, which of the British Isles is home to Culver Cliff?
Wales.
Isle of Wight. Neil, in the human body, what F is the long, thin outer bone of the lower leg?
Femur.
Fibula. Bridget, in the 18th and 19th centuries, what name was shared by 4 consecutive UK kings from the House of Hanover?
George.
Correct. Tracy, in organic chemistry, which element do all organic compounds contain?
Oxygen.
Carbon. John, released in 1937, what was Disney's first feature-length animated cartoon?
Fantasia.
Snow White and the Seven
Bang.
Dwarfs. Betty. Time is up, and after all that work, you continue to go down the drain. You put into your kitty just £150. Let me tell you that those desperately clinging on should be put out of their misery without delay. They have no place here. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Bridget is the strongest link for the second time, and for a second time, Tracy is the weakest link statistically. But can she survive a second vote as the pressure on the team increases?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Betty.
Neil.
John.
Tracy.
Tracy.
Bridget. Why Tracy?
I thought she got the most questions wrong in that last round.
Right. Neil, what do you do?
Firefighter.
Right, did they not teach you any first aid?
Yep.
You don't know your fibula from your femur?
No,
It's not funny, is it?
not at all.
Not if you're rescuing me and I'm on your back. Why Tracy?
It's difficult. Well, I think we're all having to pull around. I just thought she answered a few more less than others.
What's your hobby, Tracy?
Belly dancing.
Does that give you much practice at general knowledge?
Gives you much practice at wiggling your hips.
Right. Unfortunately not sufficient. With 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Bye.
The walk of shame, I actually found that a great relief, and I used it as an opportunity to strut my stuff. I think the person that will win will be Bridget. She's been very consistent right throughout the game. However, the person I would dearly love to win is Neil. He's a fantastic guy and a real good laugh.
Round 6, you have £2,270 in the kitty. 4 players left. We are taking another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Bridget. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bridget, in geography, which valley in the Scottish Highlands is also known as the Great Glen?
Glencoe.
Glenmore. John, Jigglypuff and Licky Tongue are characters from which children's cartoon series?
I've no idea.
Pokemon. Betty, in the Charles Dickens novel Great Expectations, which convict is Pip's secret benefactor?
Magwitch.
Correct, Neil. In religion, which famous Chinese philosopher was born in 551 BC?
Confucius.
Correct,
Bank.
Bridget. The most westerly point of the USA is in which state?
Alaska.
Correct, John. In history, under which king were women first licensed to appear as actresses in the theatre? Charles I or Charles II?
Charles II.
Correct, Betty.
Bank.
Which veteran American actor played Jack Horner in the 1997 film Boogie Nights?
George Burns.
Burt Reynolds. Neil, which D.H. Lawrence novel was not published uncensored in England until 30 years after his death?
Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Correct, Bridget. In the TV drama series, which famous actor played the part of Philip Marlowe in Dennis Potter's The Singing Detective?
Pass.
Michael Gambon. John, add the square root of 81 to the square root of 100.
19.
Correct, Betty.
Bank.
Prince Charles learnt Welsh and Welsh history at which university in 1969?
University of Cardiff.
Aberystwyth. Neil, with which sport was Henry Cotton associated?
Golf.
Correct, Bridget.
Bank.
What bee is a triangular-shaped stringed instrument popular in Russia?
Balalaika.
Correct, John. Which English footballer's autobiography entitled Psycho was published in 2000?
Stuart Pearce.
Correct, Betty. In history, who was leader of the conspirators responsible for the gunpowder plot, Guy Fawkes or Robert Catesby?
Robert Catesby.
Correct, Neil.
Bank.
In geography, in which continent would you find the Okavango Delta?
Asia.
Africa. Bridget, in literature, the character Fanny Robin is from which Thomas Hardy novel?
Far from the Madding Crowd.
Correct,
Bank.
John. By what other name is the Chinese city of Peking known today?
I don't know.
Beijing. Betty, in which year was the poisonous... Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And you put into the bag £260. That is not very impressive. Who was most responsible for the poor banking? It's time to vote off. It's the weakest link.
With just one question answered incorrectly, Neil is the strongest link. Betty is the weakest link, but she did bank some money for the team. Would it be enough to save her?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Betty.
John.
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 Neil, why John?
Hard to choose, but John hesitated, that's it.
Right. Betty, why John?
Well, he's had a lot of tricky questions, numerical questions and things, but unfortunately he was getting them wrong.
Right. John, do you think when you grow up you might learn some geography?
I might do that.
With 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
It is annoying to think that the weakest link is still out there and I've been voted off. But you know, I came here to win, didn't quite make it. I think the person who's going to win tonight is Bridget because she's got good general knowledge, she's a teacher, so she reads a lot of books and that sort of thing. And I think she'll take the money home.
Round 7. So far, you've won £2,530. There are 3 of you left. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, north of the equator, do hurricanes spin clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. Bridget, in the animal kingdom, what sea is a name given to the American puma or mountain lion?
Cougar.
Correct, Betty. In Rossini's opera, which barber introduces himself with the aria Largo al Factotum?
The Barber of Seville.
Figaro. I'll accept the Barber of Seville. Neil,
Bank.
in terms of measuring energy, for what do the initials KJ stand?
Kilojoule.
Correct, Bridget. What American state is named after Louis XIV of France?
Louisiana.
Correct, Betty. In TV, what game show was known on the continent as Jeux sans frontières?
I can't remember.
It's a knockout. Neil, who was imprisoned after causing the collapse of Barings Bank in 1995?
Nick Leeson.
Correct, Bridget.
Bank.
Complete the title of the novel by British novelist Malcolm Bradbury, Eating People is what?
Easy.
Wrong. Betty, which city in Queensland played host to the 1982 Commonwealth Games?
Melbourne.
Brisbane. Neil, for which king did England have to raise a king's ransom in 1194?
King John.
Richard I. Bridget, Drake's Bay is just north of which Californian city?
San Francisco.
Correct, Betty. In the TV series Minder, which character was played by the actor George Cole?
I can't remember.
Arthur Daly. Neil, in history, which economic world crisis began in 1929 when the New York Stock Exchange collapsed?
Stock market crash.
The
Wall
Great
Street crash.
Depression. Bridget, what international team tennis tournament was inaugurated in 1900?
Davis Cup.
Correct, Betty. In 1858, John Hanning Speke discovered the source of which great African river?
The Nile.
Correct, Neil.
Bank.
In literature, what is the name of the 16-year-old narrator of J.D. Salinger's... Time is up. I cannot complete the question, and you banked £170. Now, in round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank, and that means in the next round, there's £3,000 to be won. The question is, who is least likely to assist you in raising the total to the maximum? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Bridget is the strongest link for the third time in this game. Betty is the weakest link again, but will she survive another vote at this crucial stage of the game?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Bridget.
Betty.
Betty.
Bridget, you're not on the side of sisterhood then?
I was merely voting for what I thought was the weakest link, because I have done all the way through.
Right. Neil, why Betty?
I just thought she hesitated a little bit too much, that's it.
Right. You don't fancy rescuing her?
Oh yes, I'll rescue anyone.
Right. Betty, I think perhaps your memory left for Stenhouse Muir some time ago.
It did. It certainly
I'm going to allow you to join it. With 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Playing the weakest link is really hard work, but it is enjoyable. But as the rounds go on, it gets worse and worse, and you just want to go home and cry.
Round 8 so far, you've won £2,700 out of a possible 7,000. Neil and Bridget, only 2 of you left, and this time you have just 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £3,000 is at stake in this round. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Bridget. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bridget, in history, Castile and Aragon were 2 separate kingdoms of which country?
France.
Spain. Neil, in football, which team has won the English League Championship on most occasions?
Liverpool.
Correct,
Bank.
Bridget. Which Asian capital city used to be known as Batavia until 1949?
Jakarta.
Correct, Neil.
Bank.
In food, which Hebrew word for Jewish unleavened bread is now widely used in English?
Pass.
Matzo. Bridget, what ale is the common name given to an electrical discharge between a charged rain cloud and the ground, or 2 charged clouds?
Lightning.
Correct. Neil, Tom Cruise starred as a Vietnam veteran in which Oscar-winning Oliver Stone film?
4th of July. Born on the 4th of July.
Correct.
Bank.
Bridget, the world's largest indoor theatre, Radio City Music Hall, opened in 1932 in which American city?
New York.
Correct. Neil, in
Bank.
music, the Yardbirds and Cream are rock bands primarily associated with which British guitar legend?
Eric Clapton.
Correct. Bridget.
Bank.
In 18th century literature, what doctor was the author of the project The Lives of the English Poets?
Johnson.
Correct. Neil, in nature, are the flowers of the plant lily of the valley mainly white or blue?
White.
Correct. Bridget.
Bank.
In the animal kingdom, is the koala a type of bear?
No.
Correct.
Bank.
Neil, in which decade was Play-Doh first sold in toy shops in America?
30s.
50s. Bridget. Time up, and you won £200 in that round. We'll treble that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £3,300. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So Neil and Bridget for £3,300. Let's play the weakest link. Bridget, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
May I, please?
Bridget, in food, baked beans are normally made from which type of bean?
Field bean.
The correct answer is haricot bean. Neil, which streaker hit the headlines when she went topless at Twickenham in January 1982?
Erica Rowe.
That is the correct answer. Bridget, who was Chancellor of the Exchequer immediately prior to Gordon Brown?
Robin.
No, the correct answer is Kenneth Clarke. Neil, what was the name of the eldest daughter in the 1970s and 80s TV drama series The Waltons?
Sue Ellen.
The correct answer is Mary Ellen. Bridget, William Penn was a 17th century religious leader of which Christian movement?
Quakers.
That is the correct answer. Neil, in which Shakespeare play does the character of Sir Toby Belch appear?
Midsummer's Night Dream.
The correct answer is Twelfth Night. At this stage, you are level pegging. Bridget, in children's television, which actor provided the voices in the 1980s cartoon Willow the Wisp?
Martin Jarvis.
The correct answer is Kenneth Williams. Neil, on which Channel Island would you find the Wildlife Centre and Zoo founded by English zoologist Gerald Durrell?
Jersey.
That is the correct answer. Bridget, you need to answer this question correctly to remain in the game. What is the name of US President George W. Bush's Vice President?
Can't remember.
The correct answer is Dick Cheney. That means, Neil, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £3,300. Bridget, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Bye.
No, I didn't really think I was going to win tonight. Bridget was by far the strongest person there. But it's that last question, when she got that one wrong, that's when the penny dropped. Good on Bridget.
I mean, obviously £3,000 would have been wonderful, but I never had it, so I won't miss it, and I'll just carry on with a normal day.
Winning £3,000 is amazing. I didn't actually think I'd be here. I thought I'd be here a lot earlier than I really was.
Next on BBC